Okay, so the main purpose of this video was initially to address Andrew Cuomo's handling of the coronavirus. But that quickly changed when I started to dig into a little bit of what was going on, and it led me down some rabbit holes. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about Andrew Cuomo towards the end of this, but the main point that I want to hit on is how misrepresented a lot of things are in the media and how a lot of this is being politicized. So Andrew Cuomo is obviously the most praised governor right now for his response to the coronavirus. You'll see later, I'll pull up an article. They actually say that he had a very calm and steady approach, and we're going to see why that's absolutely false. So the reason that you're having a governor like Andrew Cuomo be so revered by the media is because it's so easy to politicize him. I mean, his brother works at CNN, and you're going to see here too how obvious it is that something like Operation Mockingbird is still going on. So let's go over here quickly just some of the lies that the media is told about Trump and the coronavirus and the handling of everything, because you're going to see that they'll politicize it no matter what. Like, they're going to get their agenda through no matter what. So people were saying that Trump downplayed the COVID numbers early on. This is one of the claims that people would make. This is one of the claims that the media was making, is that he's downplaying the severity of the outbreak. And it's because the World Health Organization was saying that COVID had a 3.4% mortality rate. Trump was saying that it's well under 1%, and he was saying that because they weren't testing everybody. There were plenty of people who were getting COVID who weren't getting tested, who weren't totaled, and they were recovering from it just fine. So when you look at the total number of people who had it and the total number of people who got tested, those numbers aren't at all the same. And the media was just saying that, you know, Trump is disagreeing with the World Health Organization, he's spreading fake news. And no, he wasn't. He wasn't. So Trump also said, and this was another point, that Google was developing a national COVID website to help direct people to facilities to get tested. So here you can see HuffPo, administration officials fail to answer for Trump lie about Google coronavirus site. Then CNN, Google says it's not publishing a national scale coronavirus site anytime soon after Trump announcement. Okay, Google did announce that they're publishing a website to contain the spread of COVID-19, inform citizens, protect the health of our communities. So you can see how the media just kind of twists that into their own narrative, hoping that people don't actually follow Google on Twitter and don't actually follow up with any of these stories. So another lie was that Trump dissolved the White House Pandemic Response Office. So you can see this article, okay, on the Washington Post. I ran the White House Pandemic Office. Trump closed it. This is by Elizabeth Cameron, Beth Cameron. Okay, she ran this under Obama. And then you have at the bottom there, no, the White House didn't dissolve its Pandemic Response Office. I was there, by Tim Morrison. Now, Tim Morrison is the former senior director for counter-proliferation and biodefense on the National Security Council. And he basically says that, you know, the Trump administration was seeking to shrink the national security staff, but basically what ended up happening was that the staff got streamlined, and it didn't actually get dissolved, it was just streamlined. And under Obama, it quadrupled in size to nearly 400 people, so Trump began rolling it back. So, I mean, that seems like a perfectly reasonable thing to do, and completely separate from the coronavirus outbreak, the pandemic, whatever you want to call it. Separate from that, it's good to streamline government offices to make them more efficient. I think it's still going to be inefficient, but that's not the point here. So Another thing that they lied about was that they said that Trump ignored an intel briefing from January and February that warned of a likely pandemic, and this led to an inadequate response. So this is wrong because he acted very quickly with travel bans. He put together the coronavirus task force, and he ordered testing kits for coronavirus long before the World Health Organization declared this a global pandemic. So long before then, okay? Now, whether he acted fast or he didn't, we have to understand that the media was going to lambaste Trump no matter what. This is what the media does. They know the responsible, or the media knows the reasonable response is to try to stop the spread of COVID. But when measures are put in place to do that, they have their political buzzwords to go to, like racist and xenophobic. And it's as if they actually care what China thinks of all of this, as if the Chinese Communist Party isn't just spouting propaganda constantly. They act like that's not happening. And you're going to see Governor Cuomo push some CCP propaganda here pretty soon. So it's when you see a response like this to the White House's handling of the coronavirus pandemic, okay, just imagine that this is the going under of the liberal institutions in the US. They've been reduced to identity politics, which is the ultimate devolution of liberal policies. So now we've handled some of what the media is saying about all of this. Now let's get into Biden criticizing Trump, because this is when it gets really interesting. So Biden criticized Trump on his response, but then Biden decided that he was going to start suggesting some things that he would do if he was president. And the things that he was suggesting are things that Trump has already done. So Biden was saying that we should get private labs in universities to expand COVID testing. Trump already did that. He said that insurance companies should be waiving the copay for testing. Trump already did that. He was talking about accelerating the development of a vaccine. Trump already ordered that. That's already happening. And completely ignore the efficacy of a vaccine. Just ignore that here, okay? Trump said that they're accelerating the development of it, and then Biden comes out and says, well, I would accelerate the development of a vaccine. It's like, yeah, it's already happening. So he also told CEOs to not buy back their own stock during this to make their companies look better than they would be otherwise. Because it's like propping up a stock on rotting stilts. But Trump already told them to do this. I think it was a day before Biden said that CEOs shouldn't be buying back their own stock for like the next year. Trump already said that the day before. So Biden also lied about Trump calling coronavirus a hoax. The media in general lied about that. Biden lied and said that the World Health Organization offered the CDC COVID test kits that were then refused by Trump, but they were never offered in the first place. And the New York Times lied about Trump, saying that governors were on their own. Do you remember this, when the media was pushing this idea that Trump was just like, well, governors, you're on your own. We're not helping you anymore. And they blew that up because they wanted to make it sound like Trump was just pulling the federal government out of it. He didn't want anything to do with it. He just wanted to let states just flounder on their own. What he actually told them is that it's faster and cheaper to order a lot of the materials that the federal government was going to have to supply to them. It's faster and cheaper for states to just order them on their own, to try to find their own source for some of this stuff. And the federal government, Trump said, is backing them. So it's not like he's leaving them out to dry. So here we have AP fact-checking Democrats. This is amazing to me. So Democrats, including Biden, also said that Trump cut funding to the CDC and the NIH. But the AP, of all places, fact-checked this to find that funding has increased. And the steady erosion of a CDC grant program was underway prior to Trump's presidency. So Trump had nothing to do with this. And again, I mean, we're talking about a CDC grant program being rolled back prior to Trump's administration coming in the first place. So it's a grant program. It's not like he's just cutting all the funding for the CDC and the NIH. So now let's talk Cuomo a little bit, because Andrew Cuomo is an interesting figure in a lot of this. Because like I said before, he's easily praised as being the governor who's handled this the best. And it's because largely he's been the most outspoken. I mean, you notice how like AOC and, well, AOC is probably the best example. Like back when the midterm elections were going on, and even prior to that, I mean, even now, she's one of the most prominent politicians, and it's not because her ideas are good. It's because she has a really big mouth and she says a lot of stupid things that people like to hear when they don't know any better. And that's the problem with a lot of what Cuomo says, a lot of what Biden says, a lot of what the media reports, is that people just don't know better. You can Google some of this stuff, and in 2 seconds you can find refutations of what the media is reporting on, what Biden says, what Cuomo says. You can refute it with a simple Google search. And I get that you can't just like say that for everything, like, oh, well, just Google it and then find reliable articles on it. But I'm saying you can Google some of the things that they claim, and you can find article after article after article, all talking about direct quotes, source information that prove that they're lying. And that's why it's amazing to me. And Cuomo also, as if this isn't virtue signaling to the nth degree, okay, he's calling it the European virus. He's not calling it the Chinese virus or the Wuhan virus or anything like that. No, it's the European virus. And he's doing that like an absolute snake. And the reason that he's doing it is because most cases in New York came from China via Europe. So they went from China to Europe to New York. And basically all that means is that, okay, Europe got hit before the US. Like, that's perfectly reasonable. China's closer to the US, or China's closer to Europe, sorry. China's closer to Europe, makes perfect sense. So most cases across the US came from New York. So should we call it the New York virus? I mean, this is literally Chinese Communist Party propaganda here when Cuomo's calling it a European virus. This is literally what the CCP wants them to do. So Cuomo's largest mistake in all of this was mandating that nursing homes accept those recovering from COVID, even though they could still be contagious. So a Long Island nursing home had one person who had contracted the virus, okay? They had one person who had contracted the virus. Within a month of Cuomo mandating this, that nursing homes now have to accept people who were released from the hospital or couldn't be taken in by the hospital, there were 24 people in that nursing home that had died in 1 month. And one of the people associated with this said that, they can't say for sure that it had to do with this mandate for these nursing facilities to take in, and these long-term care facilities to take in COVID patients, but it certainly didn't help. And I'd be willing to bet that those 24 people dying, the number probably wouldn't be 24. It would probably be significantly less. And I understand that one person in a nursing home can spread it to other people, and it can start to manifest in the nursing home that way. But regardless, this is like going to a fire and seeing the whole building engulfed in flames, and you're just like, well, hey, you know what? Or it's more like one room is on fire, one room of the house. And you're just like, well, you know what? Instead of stopping this, because the fire is going to spread to the rest of the house, just pour some gasoline. That'll be fine. Just pour gasoline. So New York, New Jersey, and California have ordered nursing homes to accept COVID patients discharged from the hospital. So New Jersey and California started to roll some of this back, and they put certain regulations in place to not make it so that you had elderly people in nursing homes in such close proximity to COVID patients. So I think it was California They were only admitting them to nursing homes if they had the facilities to keep them separate. And it's not perfect, don't get me wrong. It's nowhere near perfect, but they did this, and they did put some regulations on it. New York didn't. Cuomo actually criticized nursing homes who didn't accept COVID patients to just mingle with the general population, okay? Cuomo actually said that nursing homes don't have a right to object. That is the rule and that is the regulation, and they have to comply with it. Okay, so you're telling me that the Fed can pump in $1.5 trillion into the economy, but the government can't open COVID-only facilities? Like, I'm not in favor of spending more money on this, but are you telling me honestly that sending them to nursing homes was the best option? I mean, seriously? And it's funny how Cuomo, Fauci pushing remdesivir and ventilators and all of that, and many others in the mainstream eye are purposely making COVID as bad as possible for the purpose of bringing Trump down. Just think about that for a second. You have people in positions of power who are telling people, the masses, that they're doing the right thing, and they're literally doing the exact opposite of what they should be doing. The exact opposite. It's insane. And then you have all these outlets bad-mouthing Trump for taking hydroxychloroquine and zinc, even though it's proven to work exponentially better than remdesivir and ventilators. But ignore that, okay? And hey, hydroxychloroquine and zinc, that's untested. But this remdesivir, hey, that's not tested either, but we're going to push that through because it doesn't help. If you're going to die from COVID, you're going to die whether you're on remdesivir or not. Hydroxychloroquine and zinc can actually save you. But we'll ignore that, okay? We'll ignore the fact that Fauci and Cuomo and many others, the media in general, are trying to make this as bad as possible by feeding people bad information so that this gets worse and Trump is painted as the bad guy who just wrecked everything. And there's plenty of articles that you can find making this very claim. So there's two ways that this can go when you look at somebody like Cuomo and Fauci and the way that they're addressing this pandemic. It's either malicious or it's just ignorance, okay? But putting COVID positive people into nursing homes, that's malicious, okay? At that point, that's malicious. It's not ignorance. When you know that the elderly population is at a higher risk, they're going to face more of a damage to their health if they get it. More of the mortality rate is significantly higher. It's transmissible through the air. They're also finding that, hey, look at that. It's not as transmissible on surfaces as we initially thought, even though they claimed that they know it's very transmissible through surfaces. But that explains a bit of why you can go to the store and COVID's not at the store, but then why can't you go to the beach? Why can't you go to the salon? Why can't you go to the bar? But you can go to Walmart. But we also can't stand in line to vote, but we can stand in line to get food. I'm a little bit confused about all of this. Not actually, I'm being sarcastic. But, I mean, mail-in voting, are you serious? People actually think that mail-in voting is a good idea? Okay, if I can stand in line to get food, I can stand in line to vote. And if you're afraid of it, well, that works to the media's favor because they love their fear-mongering. And that's exactly what they're doing. So, back on March 25th, okay, before we get to March 25th. So, New York, the state of New York, used to have patients test negative for COVID twice before they'd be released from the hospital. But as the cases started to pile up, patients who didn't require hospital-level treatment went somewhere else. And this is where you see nursing facilities come into play, or long-term care facilities in general. So on March 25th, New York banned nursing homes from denying admission to residents infected with COVID. And New York banned nursing homes from testing people prior to admission. Just think about that. This is like saying that, you have a job that you need to give to somebody. You have a job that people are interviewing for, but you can't do any background research on them. You can't see anything into their past that would lead you to believe that they're actually a good employee. This is like how if you're hiring somebody and you call a past employer, that past employer can't really say anything bad about the person, because then the person can go to that past employer and sue them. It's ridiculous. So, of course, though, we have plenty of people, organizations, and health officials who have come out in opposition to Cuomo's handling of the pandemic, but not the media. The media is very quiet on all of it. So this brings me to my final point here. So people are praising New York Governor Andrew Cuomo's steady and calm leadership during the coronavirus pandemic. Steady and calm. Does it seem calm to put COVID patients in with elderly people in a nursing home? Does that seem calm? And I don't even know what steady means. And where does this fallacious idea come from that we need leaders to be steady and calm? There are times where leaders should not be steady and calm. There are times where they need to get fired up, they need to get angry, and they need to start pushing back. This was like when Trump was running for president, and everybody was like, oh, he's not presidential, he's too boisterous, he's too loud, his mouth's too big. And it's like, yeah, because there's a lot of corruption going on. There is a lot of corruption that should be angering a lot of people. And it's not, because people love to just be sheep, put on their blinders, watch the media, and go, oh no, a pandemic. I need toilet paper. I need my mask. Where's my mask? I need my gloves. And I need my Twinkies at Walmart. And it's like, what? There's so many reasons to be getting upset at all of this. And you actually have news organizations saying that, you know, leaders got to remain steady and calm. Hey, we need to praise Cuomo for being steady and calm. No, the man is a moron. And okay, my point with this actually, this final headline here. New Yorkers approve of Cuomo's response to coronavirus pandemic. It's a poll, okay? It's a poll. First of all, polls don't mean anything. But if you're going to try to gauge public response to something, if it's a valid poll, it doesn't tell you what's right or wrong. It just tells you how the public feels. So I actually made a post while I was going through this on the website, shieldstrm.com. I'll pull up the link with that later. It's linked down in the description. I'll talk about that here in a second. But, okay, this was what I put out on the website. So let me get close and read this here. So I was thinking earlier, I came across an interesting irony that exists in the minds of the American masses. It seems that the masses advocate for the democratic process, so they clearly think that the process of an individual voting for a politician will grant the masses the most benefit, which is, of course, a fallacious claim, but let's just ignore that for now, okay? Now, apply that to spending your money, and they disagree with the concept of democracy suddenly. They want to give everyone a vote for how to control others through politicians, but when it comes to the individual actually leveraging their own power through their wealth, individuals are deemed too stupid or greedy and selfish to do it, so we need big daddy government to allocate money for us because, I mean, it's like the belief that individuals would never be greedy or stupid with their vote, right? And I mean, a vote is a fictional power given to you. Wealth is something real that you can own. And ignore the fact that wealth is, or like it's often equated to being like money wealth. Okay, I get that our money is based on nothing, but the word wealth, I really mean like gold, land, property, etc. Things that have real tangible value. So to summarize my revelation, democracy advocates favor it when it comes to granting everyone an equal ability to point a politician's gun at someone else, but they're opposed to it when the individual's power is actually derived from the individual themselves. And we wonder why so many are eager for forced equality. Voting is forced equality. Allowing an individual to quote-unquote vote on the open market with their wealth exposes the distance between people, and the dullards, paupers, beggars, and derelicts of society want this distance to be eliminated through force. It's an intelligent response that their body's undergoing. It's no clue as to why they want this, honestly. It's really not. It's why the masses favor democracy. You dilute nobility amongst the decay of the herd so that the herd may be propped up, albeit temporarily, by the noble instincts that grant society wealth creation in the first place. The temporary aspect is important here too, because our culture is increasingly unable to defer gratification, and this is part of the downfall. This is actually a very key characteristic of a declining culture, is when you see people unable to defer gratification en masse. When you see masses of people who just want right now, this second, and they can't think long term. So that was the post. And I do posts like this from time to time on the website, where I'll post an article, I'll give my thoughts. I'll just write something like this up. I think this is the second or third long thing that I've written on the site. And the website is shieldstrm.com. I highly advocate that everyone who's committed to this channel goes over to sign up on the website. It's free to sign up, absolutely free, and you can receive notifications without fail. YouTube is keeping people from receiving notifications. This website is not. You can talk to the people who use the website. It is not keeping notifications from people. And I produce free content exclusively for the website in the form of text posts, comments on different articles that I have, etc. And I post up all the videos there too. And we're only going to continue growing our network over there. And I'll be going live on the Right Media here very soon to talk about this a little bit further and get into a bit more of the censorship that I'm facing. But this website, again, shieldstrm.com, it's right there at the top, is the way around the censorship. It's the answer that we've been wanting. It's a network also. So you can post, you can comment, and you can message me through the site. And again, it's free to sign up. We need to move off YouTube and get to a place where we're not going to be restricted for our thoughts, opinions, and sadly, factual claims. It's really a shame. So I hope that people found this video helpful. It gets me fired up when I hear about the media's lies. I know they're blatantly false, but they paint it in a way that's true. And I'm not going to reiterate everything I've said. I hope people enjoyed this live stream. I really enjoyed getting on here. And I'm going to head over, like I was saying, to the Right Media channel here very soon, do another quick live stream, talk about the website, some of the YouTube censorship that's going on that I haven't really talked about yet on the channel at all. And yeah, subscribe to this channel, the Ben Shields channel. This is the main channel now because it's not restricted, but who knows how long that's going to last. Again, that's why it's important to sign up on the website, shieldstrm.com. I cannot explain enough how much we need people over there, because that's how we get around this. That's how we put a drain in this tub that keeps just draining everything out. Okay, new subscribers come in, and when they come in, old ones go out. And now YouTube's cut off the faucet, and there's just people going out. Not even by their own volition. They don't want to leave necessarily, but they are. And YouTube is just getting rid of them. So consider signing up at the site. It really helps me out to be able to do this more full time, to be able to put more time into this. And I don't know, even the community posts on the Right Media, the community posts where I write, hey, I'm doing a live stream. Hey, here's my thoughts on something. Hey, this is what's going on. Those are restricted. YouTube's like, nah, we gotta keep this man's insane ideology off of our site. We gotta restrict him. So it's wild. Okay, go to the website, shieldstrm.com. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I really, really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next one.